Please welcome Frans Cornelissen, University Medical Center, Groningen.
My name is Frans Cornelissen. I'm a professor of ophthalmology. I was Alessandro Grillini's promoter during his PhD, which he obtained in November 2020, exactly 3 years ago. I vividly remember the meeting we had in the second year of Alessandro's PhD, in which he asked whether he could spend a little bit of his time on a new idea he had, identifying vision problems using only an eye tracker. While the idea sounded almost too good to be true, I also didn't want to stop a young, enthusiastic researcher from following up on a crazy idea. Long story short, most of Alessandro's thesis ended up being about the new method, and not long after his company came to be. Fast forward to the present. Reyedar is now a fast-growing company that has managed to attract substantial external funding, because by now many others have also recognized the huge potential of their technology. Therefore, it's my great pleasure to nominate Alessandro, his company Reyedar, and their revolutionary new technology for testing vision.
Breaking the wall to early detection of degenerative diseases. Alessandro Grillini, Reyedar.
Let's do a little experiment. So please look at the green cross and see if you immediately spot something out of the ordinary. Maybe yes, maybe not. We often think of blindness as seeing completely black, or maybe nothing at all. But what you're experiencing here is actually how a person that lost half of the visual field sees the world. So this phenomenon, where the brain compensates for vision loss, is typical of degenerative neurovisual conditions like glaucoma. I'm Alessandro Grillini, and I spent the last decade working on methods to simplify the way we measure the complex and intricate relationship between brain and vision. Neurovisual disorders are shockingly common. 2.5 billion people in the world suffer from it. And due to the lack of resources and the complexity of early screening, 1 billion people have no access to proper care. To make things worse, these problems are age-related and degenerative, which means that with the aging global populations, we're going to face an emergency in the next 10 years, with the healthcare system worldwide being already under an immense strain. So currently, we can test neurovisual disorders at an early phase with structural and functional tests. Structural tests are objective and fast, but are very expensive to perform and often lack clinical significance. On the other hand, functional tests effectively measure the way that brain perceives visual information. So they're very relevant clinically, but they are either subjective and time-consuming, or when they're objective, they're invasive. So we face a conundrum here. How can we get something like that is the best of both worlds? A test that is objective, fast, patient-friendly, and affordable. The answer is eye tracking. Eye tracking is an imaging technology that tracks the movement of the eye at high speed together with a pupil size. At Reyedar, we build an eye tracking platform that is plug-and-play, accessible and affordable by operating in a principle similar to how you do a knee test by the neurologist. You stimulate a reflex and you measure a response. This is exactly what we're doing. We send stimuli to the retina, and we measure the reflexive eye movement response, and using machine learning, we can identify the underlying conditions causing the alterations. So we have one device to rule them all. Actually, with this platform, we can target a pressing problem in hospitals that they need to perform this test on very large scale. But at the same time, we can access markets that are a bit less conventional for these devices. For instance, optical retails, because this device is plug and play. I can teach a child to operate it in less than 5 minutes. So our business model is also very simple. We sell the hardware for a fixed price, and then we charge the software with a recurring subscription. And currently, we're starting in the Netherlands, but we're rapidly expanding towards other countries as well. So I started this company a few years ago. This was like the humble start with my first CEO desk, and this was my first participation in Falling Walls lab, when this thing was just an idea. And I had the crazy idea of starting this company alone. I'm an incredibly stubborn person. I lost my hair in the process, but a few years later, we're actually now building a team capable of really doing anything. except selfies, as you can clearly see by this picture. And these are some of our customers, which I think is really the best testament to the progress that we made. We are ranging from world-renowned research institutions like Boston's MIT, or the International Paralympic Committee. That's actually quite a funny story. But also we have large academic hospitals and even small family-owned optician shops in the Netherlands. So this is really proof of how eye tracking technology can be pervasive across very different healthcare sectors, solving real problems right now. Where do we take it from here? We're actually in conversation with 3 of the market leaders in the vision care space, and we are building the most advanced eye tracker in the world. We're actually increasing the precision of this device of a factor of 120. And we're expanding across different sectors and different verticals. So, of course, all these operations are going to require a significant amount of capital, and that's the reason why we're raising our Series A round, expecting to be closed at the end of next year, combining it with an EIC accelerator. At Reyedar, we aim to become the global leader in early detection of neurovisual disorders, and most importantly, to bring this technology really close to people where it matters the most. Thank you.
Please hurry up to bring this to market. My grandmother has Green Star, my father has Green Star, I will be probably next, so...
Actually, patients are our strongest supporters.
Okay, good, good. So, okay, well, I'm not allowed to vote here, but the jury will have questions, I'm sure. So let us go. Who is first? Yes, Chaz, please, then Stefan. Thank you for the microphones, thank you so much. Chaz first, yes, thank you.
Fantastic, thank you. Have you used this to track patients with age-related macular degeneration with time?
We are starting right now that project in very early Alzheimer. We have an interesting cohort of twins, some of which developed the accumulation of amyloid beta protein, and we are now tracking over time to see if we can predict, even before there are clinical symptoms, just based on oculomotor properties, if there is an onset of the disease. Besides, we also tested in Parkinson, where we can actually monitor the on-off phase of the disease. Similarly, we also did it in multiple sclerosis.
Okay, thank you. Stefan, you are next. Can we have the microphone? Thank you.
You're writing that the glaucoma treatment would be approximately 300 euros per patient, yeah?
At the very early stage, yes, a pharmacological treatment.
And what would be the least cost, the treatment with the least cost comparatively? I mean, if you compare it to the other ones, which might be a little bit more invasive or would require a patient interaction.
So actually 300 euros per year is already on the very low cost. If you're looking at drugs for neurodegenerative conditions, they're usually much more expensive. But actually the real cost comes from, well, for surgeries, obviously, but also the indirect societal cost that comes from the loss of independence. So in the case of glaucoma, when it leads to blindness, you have a lot of cost related to that.
I pay the 300 euros if you like now. Okay, we have Frank here.
You mentioned many diseases, many indications. What will be the first indication in which you will perform a prospective controlled clinical trial?
We already done that at glaucoma.
Glaucoma?
Glaucoma, correct. Yeah.
And how many patients have been involved? What was the comparator? What's the outcome?
So the preliminary study was around 300. Now we're doing like a specific test in operational settings, so really running in the clinic, also to test the economical efficiency of the product with 200 people. We have specificity. We have different studies ranging from 92 to 95%, and specificity is crucial for screening, while the sensitivity is between 88 and 90%.
Thank you.
Okay, checking the jury. Otherwise, I will take this first question and then the gentleman here in the fourth row.
Hi, it's really, really great work. So I'm wondering, I also see that when you go to, for example, eye clinics, right, there's a lot of initiatives that are doing some eye tracking as well as looking, you know, like at the vasculature behind the eye as well. So do you have like an advantage over those technologies?
Thank you.
Absolutely. So the eye tracking that is used right now in the clinics is primarily used for retinal stabilization while doing retinal imaging. So essentially, they're doing a structural evaluation of the ocular of the eye. So that means that you're only looking at half of the picture. We are using a much more sophisticated form of eye tracking that actually measures the eye like several hundred times per second, and we use directly that as a biomarker of the functional capability of the person. So it's a completely different physical principle behind the evaluation.
Okay, super fast question, super fast answer, please. We have 22 seconds.
Excellent presentation here. I'm here.
Oh,
yeah, sorry. I was just wondering if you are like thinking in the future, would this something like just like the COVID test came home, would you actually think that this could actually also become a home test at some point in the future?
Yes, no answer.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That was great. Sorry.